Hello everyone, welcome to Imaginary Hub and welcome to the first episode of Build Sunday. In this Build Sunday series, what we intend to do is we will sit together, we'll try to understand one problem statement, we'll try to understand the application that we are building, and we will use our IDEs, whatever the help that we can get from AI. And the main important thing of this entire Build Sunday series is to understand how the application works, what is the architecture behind it, how the tech stack works together, which tech stack is good. Let's say to build one application we might have 10 different ways of building it, 10 different of tech stacks, but which tech stack is profitable, which tech stack is more efficient, we are going to analyze all those things. We are going to understand structures. The most important part of this series is understanding structures and archetypes in detail. So let's start our first application building, which is building a very simple application. We will begin with easy understanding application, and as we further move in builds and episodes, we will try to build more complex, more enterprise oriented applications. For now, as this is our first episode, we will try to build a very simple Smart QA chatbot, or you can say chat application, where you can interact with the application and you can share your like work related information or any other thing, and it will remember, it will have a conversation history as well. So this application which we are going to build is not going to be a very simple chatbot. It will have memory, it will have few specific qualities that will differentiate from a simple chatbot. So without further ado, I have PPT with me in my screen, and I have also opened whiteboard. So I'm not very sure like whether I will follow PPT or not, but yeah, we can move forward with PPT. And if I get anything interesting which I have to explain you while writing, so I'll, in that case I'll use whiteboard. Okay. So in this application, in this episode, we are going to build a very simple smart QA application using a proprietary model. In this first episode, we'll try to understand how proprietary model works and how we can use proprietary models in our local computer. So what do I mean by proprietary models? There are various proprietary models like ChatGPT, Gemini, Anthropic, and what they do is they give something called as a API key. What is a API key? So whenever you take applications like proprietary models like GPT or Anthropic or Grok, whatever it is, right? So if you want to use this application in your local computer as a developer, then what they do is we can't directly access. Like, listen, there are three different types of large language models present in the market. One is completely open source model like Gwen and other models, which are basically open. You can access the parameters, you can access the code written on which, like the data set on which these models are trained upon, you can access those. And the second type of models are open parameters models. These models are, you can say, partially open. Like you can access the parameters of those models, but you can't directly see how they are trained on or how they are built. These are second category of models, and the third category of models are proprietary models. Proprietary models are completely private models. You can use them, but we don't know how they are built, how they are trained on, which data they have been trained on, anything. We don't know anything about that, but we are allowed to use it. And as a developer, as a builder, they give us something called as API keys, and through this API keys we can build our custom applications. And in this case, in our first build Sunday episode, what we are doing is we are building our personal smart Q&A application. This is a simple thing. And which API key, which model API key we are going to use in this episode is we are going to use ChatGPT API keys. Okay, this is the idea of this first application, and the main intent of this application, why I have chosen this as the beginning episode, starting episode of this series, is because we will understand, if we when we build this application, we'll understand in detail of how the proprietary model works and how we can use the proprietary model in our application, in our ideas, right? So these are the aspects. Like we will build a CLI based chat interface. What do I mean by CLI based interfaces? We have terminal, right? So within terminal we can chat. Okay, what is RAG or what is fine tuning? You can ask any question to it, and the flow. Let me tell you the flow of the application now. So I hope you have understood what is the application. We are trying to build a smart QA application using OpenAI API keys. Okay, that is the main basic idea of this episode. Okay, now let us understand the flow of the application. What is the flow? So the flow is that whenever a user is us, basically, because we are like building this application for our personal self. So a user interacts in CLI. What is CLI? Basically terminal. Every computer has a terminal, right? Our Mac will have a terminal, everything. Okay, so whenever he sends a query in terminal, what happens is that a API call will happen, and this API call will happen and it will invoke our GPT 4 or 5 or 5.2, whatever the model which we are using. That model will get invoked, and here whatever the query comes in, let me write here. So whatever the query that user sends, that same query will get carry forward in the form of numbers. This is not a theoretical class. This is not going to be an in-depth class. If you want to understand how large language model works, what is the max behind it, I am making a separate series which will be uploaded on every Wednesday. You can watch it, and those are going to be completely boring. I don't say boring, but they are going to be a very in detail mathematical oriented sessions. But this is going to be a like architectural based session. We'll understand how the things are working, what is the architecture behind it, and everything. Okay, so the user flow is whenever a user comes in, he sends a query in terminal sorry, and that query will get carry forward in the form of API call. Imagine API as a intermediary between user and the backend, and here in our case the backend is our chat GPT model, not ChatGPT, sorry, GPT model. Okay, so here let me show you this as well. Whenever whatever the application we are using, right, I'm using ChatGPT or Grok, whatever it is, that is a interface, that is not the real model. This is ChatGPT is the interface application, Gemini is the application, Grok is the application. And what will happen is whenever I'm sending a query, that query will get carry forward with the API. Like let's say I'm sending hello. So what happens is that a API call will happen, and in this call we will send the query, and this API what it will do is that it will take that query, give it to backend model, and the whatever the model which is working in the backend, that will give the response, and again the API will give the response to front end. Like this, a API will act as an intermediary between front end and back end. Okay, so API call will happen and it will invoke the model whichever we are using. Okay, and this model will give answer, and whatever the answer it gave us will give back to the same API call, and that API will show the answer in UI. In our case, it is not UI, it is CLI, command interface, terminal. Okay, so this is the flow of the application. And what we are doing additionally here is that in this entire conversation, whatever the conversation which is happening, let's say I'm asking, I have said my model that hello, my name is Jabir Hussain. So what will happen is that chat history, will get stored, will get stored in the form of a array list or whatever it is. Like whatever we are building the application in, however format we want to store, we can store it. And whenever a new query comes in, let's say I'm asking new query, so whenever I'm giving a new query, again same thing will happen, this same thing will happen. But along with it, what will happen is that conversational history will go, conversation history will go along, such that our model because of this thing, because of the new query, and along with it we are sending conversational history. What happens is your model will understand the context and give you more accurate responses. So that is the one thing which we are doing additionally when compared to traditional chatbots. If you take traditional chatbots, although nowadays we don't have traditional chatbots as such, but traditional chatbots don't have the okay, recording has stopped. I don't know why it has stopped, but here the differentiator is that we are adding conversational history, and along with that we are including something called as streaming. Streaming is that whenever, let's say, I have passed a query and a set of tokens will come along, right? Generally, you might have seen two different types of chat application, AI chat application. One is you send query and you wait. There's a loading symbol, three dots will come up, and after getting the entire, after like loading for a while, you'll get the entire answer once. That is one format. And streaming is that whatever the token the model is generating, you are showing that on the way, on the go. This is known as streaming. So we are gonna integrate streaming in our platform, and also uh, we are going to handle errors more elegantly. So what I mean by error handling is that, let's say, I don't know why the recording has been like stopping in between, but let's say I have given a API key for GPT-5. If GPT-5 is not working, then automatically we should build in our systems in such a way that it will fall back to, like, if the first model is not working, then it should go back to some other model. If the other model is not working, then it should go back to some third model. Like this we are going to handle errors. So this is the overview of the application. This is the overall like user flow of the application, user flow and architecture. Okay, now let's talk about before we talk about the structure of code and what are the files, let me I have a prompt here. So you are a senior CLI, this is the prompt. What I will do is that in this prompt I have clearly mentioned the code structure and everything. So before that, before I give that prompt to my IDE, what I want to do is, let me explain you the code structure as well. So here we will have a main file. Let's say my application name is smart chatbot. Okay, in chatbot we will have first of all our main code base. The main files are, one file is for conversational history, conversation.py. This stores all conversation. Okay, and streaming will also be a file which is responsible, streaming and error handling. We can combine these two files, which is responsible, this file is responsible for streaming and error handling. If one API fails, then another will invoke. Okay, and after that, model calling API, model.py. This is responsible for sending calls to the model through API and receiving calls from the responses of the API. So this is request and response. Okay, and also we will have one file called as .env. This file, in this file, in this, I want you to make notes along with it. I know this is our first session, and I'm sort of like you can say nervous, not actually nervous, but I'm speaking and I'm trying to articulate more comprehensively, more in detail. That's why I'm writing everything in here. So in this file we store sensitive data. Okay, and also we'll have like if you want to store this in Docker, then we'll have Docker files, Dockers plus GitHub. I'm going to store in GitHub, right? So these are the overall structural code that I'm going to create. Now what I did is I have given the code structure, overall explained the application, this whatever I have explained you, right? I have written that in a prompt format. So this is the prompt. Have a look at this prompt. So you can see that you are a senior chat application, all this blah blah blah, and I have given the tech stack, like you're allowed to use this Python 3.11, token for counting token. I forgot to tell you this as well, that here what we are trying to do is we are trying to, whatever the output we got, we are trying to keep track of that, like how many tokens have been utilized, what is the cost of the token. So our application, the differentiator of our application with respect to a simple chatbot is that simple chatbot does not have conversational memory. We are integrating conversational memory, we are integrating streaming and error handling, and finally calculating how much tokens that we have been utilized and what is the cost of this token. So these are the four differentiating things that we are implementing in our application. Okay, so I have explained all that in the PPT, right? So let me go. So this is CLI application, and this is the flow. Like I have a clear structure of what are the videos that I will be making, but let's not go to that. And I have told you like the response cycle, what is Open API, API related information, and tokens, right? I have explained in detail about how tokenization happens, and we will be talking about tokenization when we talk about neural networks. But imagine that each and every word here, you can see AI engineering is the future. So here each word is considered as a token, and each word will get converted into a unique number. And this process of converting characters, words into numbers is known as embedding, and the process of converting is known as tokenization, right? Tokenization is basically representing words in the form of numbers and numbers in the form of words, like giving a relationship of how a word is associated with a unique number. For example, here we have AI engineering is the future. I know you will not get it, you will not understand what I'm talking, but each word will have a unique number associated with it. And the entire process of breaking entire sentence into words and words to numbers is known as tokenization. We'll talk about tokenization in detail, but yeah, this is the thing. The magic of streaming, I have told you, right? How streaming is, what is the difference of generating direct JSON response and streaming, right? And after that, how AI remembers conversation, I have told you. And our code structure, one is API client, conversation, token counter, config, main.py, and robust techniques. I'll share this PPT with you guys. You can find this PPT and code. Believe me, I'm sharing like entire code base and GitHub with you guys. You can access the code and try running the application in your computer. Okay, so I hope you have understood the overall thing. Now let's build the application. So what I'll do is, I have this prompt, I'll share this prompt with you as well. I'll copy this, and I'm using a IDE right now. So what I'll do is, first of all, uh, let me uh, put this here, and I will create a new file. For the time being, let's create a new file. Let's say I'm creating a new file called as build Sunday, build underscore Sunday. In that folder, I'll open this folder through my IDE. Open, and okay, here I have opened the folder. Now what I will do is that I'll create another folder, episode underscore 1 underscore smart q and a. Okay, so in this, what I'll do is, I have pasted my complete prompt, and also also build the application in episode underscore 1 underscore smart q and a folder. So I have given the prompt. Now what will happen is that I have, like, this is the like differentiating factor between the developers who understand the systems in detail and the developer like vibe coders, right? What I did right now is, I have explained you in detail what is the code structure, what are the like user flow and everything. You can see exactly whatever I have explained. I got the plan, and I got the mermaid diagram as well. So the difference between vibe, so this is the interface of OpenAI API. In this, you don't have to see all this. We will be experimenting with all the things here, like chat, agent builder, audio, images, we'll be experimenting with all of this in future episode, don't need to worry at all. But here we'll have API keys. This is the section where we have to use, you can see I have two different things like was API, rag API and all. For now I'll create a new API. Let's say this API name is like smart QA, right? Smart underscore QA, and I have created this API create. Okay, now copy this and I will run the application now. So here IDE, the anti-gravity IDE has done its work. Like it has given me code and everything and a structured plan of what to do. So here you can see like this is the application flow of the application, how to run it has given me everything. So what I'll do is install dependencies. First of all I need to open a new terminal, and clone the smart QA CD. Okay, first of all I need to turn on this. Before that let me go to cd ep underscore one underscore smart q and a. Okay, so cd, let me copy this file, rename, copy. Now I hope you can clear like see the screen which I'm typing, right? Okay, now cd and paste it here. Why it's not going? Okay, it should go, right? What's the path? pwd build Sunday. Yeah, in build Sunday we have smart QA application, correct? No such file directory smart QA. Oh, okay, wait, cd and paste. Now we will get it is showing, like why is it? So what I'll do is that first of all let me rename this, because of the name we might be getting some trouble. So just q and a, rename, and copy this again, copy and cd smart QA. Okay, now we are in smart QA, so we need to run this commands now. That's it. So just click enter. Python not found. Okay, let's check the Python version here. Okay, why is it coming? Let's give it to IDE itself. Why we are getting this? Can you run the application? Okay, so it is running the application. Let's give it some time. I don't know why I'm getting like some sort of like Python version not available, although I have installed Python in my computer. This is a like continuous thing which I have been tackling with Mac. Like I have been encountering with this problem for a while now, but it should work. It should work. Most probably it should work. You can see that here. This is the code structure, description of the application, and everything. We need to run this file commands, and that's it, like download commands and everything, and I can run this as well. So let me do this. We got .env file. Now what I will do is here I just need to paste my API key. So just paste, where is the API key? Okay, copy and paste it here. So after pasting API key, you might see that here we have API keys, we have default. I have like made my model default to GPT 4.0 mini, and after that I have given maximum token limit and temperature. What is this temperature? Imagine that temperature is a parameter which is responsible for making your chat application more friendly. For example, let's say I have given it to 0, then whatever the query you are giving, it will give the answer. That's it. It will not interact with you. If you are giving temperature more, then it will interact you with more friendly, like the friendliness, the answer giving, assistant acting, right? The way it will act more like assistant to you. Will ask questions to you, will if you did not understand anything. But if you keep it to 0, for example, let's say you're building like some tax related application, then in that case we have to make it to like little lower. We don't have to act like more friendly in that application. So this is responsible of friendliness or giving more warm responses and all. And after that, max retries, maximum number of retries. If the API is failing, then we will retry again. If it keeps on failing, then we will stop the application. So that is it. Like, what is the delay? Maximum delay, API timeout. API timeout means whenever you call a API, if it is not responsive, then we keep our gate open for responses for 30 seconds. Even after 30 seconds, if we didn't get any response, then we will close the terminal. Then we will close our application. So this is it. Now let us run the application. Copy and run. We are getting this error, module rich is not found. Okay, let's fix this errors. Okay, let me submit. This is taking a while now, but yeah, this is how we build applications in Build Sunday. We will understand what we are trying to build, the architecture of it, and we will describe each and every nuance of the application, like what is the architecture, tech stack, each and everything. Give it to IDE, and IDE will give you the code. Let's walk through code as well, right? So if you see in Smart QA application, we have PyTest cache. These are like node modules, and SRC. SRC is the main code file in this API client. This is responsible for like defining abstraction, calling APIs from chatbot to OpenAPI and all, and config. Config is responsible for configuration of what is the maximum temperature, how should we use the tokens, maximum tokens, everything like configurations of entire application. And conversation.py is responsible for storing our information, whatever you are attracting, that will get stored here. And if you see the code here, you can see we are using this thing, role and assistant, and whatever the content that we are using, we are getting in previous chat, we are adding that. Okay, so here uh, this file is responsible for conversation, main.py is responsible for calling entire application. Okay, so and token counter is responsible for calculating how much tokens they are getting and everything. You can see the code in the GitHub, which I have shared in description, in comment section as well. So this is the code structure, and we have clearly defined in prompt that what should be the code, how should be the code structure follow, what is the tech stack and everything. So let's see now the application is running or not. You can see the application is now working. Let me close all this, and yep, this is the interface, this is the CLI. I can close this as well. I can ask question like my name is Jabir underscore Hussein. Click enter. Assistant is waiting. I hope we'll get an answer. OpenAI rate limit hit. I don't have OpenAI tokens. Oh god, really? In that case, I can use some other like models and everything right now. That mean like my first application failed. I hope not. The reason is that I have used OpenAI, Gemini, Grok, every other API thousands of times. So because this is failing, because I don't have enough credits for OpenAI, that is why it is not working. What I can do is that I can put my open source model, like for example, let's say I'm giving this error. I will copy this and I'll give it to my IDE, and I will tell my IDE that okay, I'm getting this if OpenAI does not work, then use llama 7b locally. What does that mean? What I have typed just now. So in my computer I have downloaded Ollama. Ollama is a platform where you can download and run AI large language models locally. So what I'm doing is that if my API is not working, then I'm using a open source model which will run within my computer instead of calling any other like API call to third party proprietary models. This is the thing which I'm doing. Okay, so although even though our application, our first application is API based, but we can use open source models as well. Why is that? Why I'm doing is that because um my OpenAI is not working. That is the reason. Okay, so before that I'm getting some errors. Let me fix these errors. This is how we do like coding nowadays, right? We just understand what is the thing going on, and if you don't have enough knowledge on why you're getting this error, then you will struggle a lot in getting the solution. Even though you are using AI, but you will get a lot of problems in between. Okay, so I know exactly that I don't have a limit right now and what the error means, and I know all these errors I can manually fix it, but we are building applications using AI, so it would be unfair if I directly go and code. That's why I'm like using AI rigorously here. Okay, now you can see the application is working now, right? Okay, clear, and now run again. I hope this time it will work. Okay, my name is Jabir Hussain. Click enter. Assistant is thinking. I hope this time please run. Let me tell you this as well. The responses which we are getting, right, those responses speed is dependent on the computer. If you use like API based approach, you will get responses fast because nothing is happening in your computer. Because I'm running the like a llama model in my computer, it is dependent on the specifications of your computer. If you're using a supercomputer, then you will get responses very fast. But you can see here, it said, hello Jabir, welcome to Build Sunday. I'm excited to help you with any questions or topics that you are building. What's on your mind today? Want to discuss about specific project, ask for advice or a particular skill, or explore new ideas? Feel free to dive in. I'll happy to help you, assist you, whatever it is. And it has given critical app error, failed to get dim gray, unable to parse gray as color. Gray is not a valid color. Why is this? What is this error? Let's understand this. Again, it has stopped, but yeah, coding agents, coding platforms, and everything. So this is very first thing, first step of understanding applications in detail, and I will be pushing this in our GitHub repository. You will find a separate repository called as Build Sunday. In Build Sunday, you will find different projects that we will be doing. Okay, so with that being said, if you watched till here, thank you guys for watching till here. It really means to me a lot, and you can leave a comment, you can leave a like, because it gives me motivation to work on next videos, and I'll try to make better ones in future. And I will promise you that if you want to understand concepts in detail, then Wednesday is for you guys. Wednesday 8 p.m. we'll meet, we'll discuss topics in detail. Thank you for watching.